There is a certain kind of person who grows quiet when their birthday approaches. No excitement, no plans, no expectation of anything special. When someone asks, "What are you doing for your birthday this year?" they just smile gently and say, "Probably nothing. It's just a normal day." Strangely, that answer often confuses people more than it should. As if you don't want cake, candles, birthday wishes, or photos posted on social media, then something must be wrong with you. But the truth is, not everyone who goes quiet on their birthday is sad. Some people are simply living in a different way. Some have gone through enough in life that they no longer need a special day to feel that they exist. And some people once waited for that day far too much. So at some point, they stopped waiting. The hardest thing about birthdays isn't getting 1 year older. It's that the day often touches a very private place inside each person. The feeling of whether we are remembered, whether we are valued, whether we truly matter in someone else's life. That's why the same birthday can carry completely different meanings for different people. For one person, it's joy. For another, it's pressure. For someone else, it's an old emptiness that quietly opens again when that date arrives. Some people are no longer excited about birthdays not because they are cold, but because they once hoped for too much. When we were young, most of us had a version of ourselves who believed birthdays were the day we could see that we mattered, even if it was just one day, a small cake, a few people remembering, a moment when the room lit up because of us. But not everyone has gentle memories of that day. Some people waited a long time for a birthday wish from someone important, and it never came. Some sat in the middle of a party and still felt lost despite all the laughter. Some realized their birthday passed so quietly that if they hadn't mentioned it, maybe no one would have known. These things sound small, but the human mind doesn't measure sadness by the size of the event. It measures it by how much we hoped and how much we were let down. After many years like that, people stop feeling disappointed, not because they no longer care, but because the mind is very good at protecting a tired heart. It teaches us to lower expectations so we won't hurt as much. It turns the sentence, "I don't care about birthdays," into a coat thick enough that no one can see the child inside who once waited for a very long time. And sometimes what looks like indifference is simply sadness that has learned how to stay quiet. But not everyone who dislikes birthdays is carrying a wound. Some people truly no longer place much meaning on that day simply because their lives are already full. You know the type. Their phone always has messages that need replies. Their work schedule runs from Monday straight into the weekend. Their mind has too many tabs open at once. They don't hate birthdays. They're just busy living. Sometimes it's not until the evening, when they notice a missed call from their mother or a birthday message, that they suddenly remember, "Oh, today is that day." It may sound careless, but sometimes it isn't carelessness. It's exhaustion. When someone has been holding themselves together for too long, work, responsibilities, children, bills, and the endless urgency of modern life, then even the days meant for emotions easily get pushed to the end of the list. Not because they don't value themselves, but because they have grown used to prioritizing what is necessary over what is gentle. This is another truth people rarely talk about. Some people don't forget their birthdays because they don't love themselves, but because they are busy trying to keep everything else from falling apart. And then there is another group of people, the ones others often find hardest to understand. They remember their birthday clearly. They are not hurt by it. They are not too busy to notice it. They simply do not need it. They don't need a crowd. They don't need people singing to them. They don't need a post to prove they have value. They don't need one day in the year to give themselves permission to slow down, eat something they love, or feel grateful that they are still here. People like this are often mistaken for being dry or distant, but sometimes they have simply arrived at a very quiet place, a place where their sense of worth no longer depends on how many people remember their birthday, a place where they understand that being loved is beautiful, but it doesn't always need to be performed to be real. There is a kind of maturity that is this quiet. It's when you no longer need an external ritual to confirm that your life has meaning. You can buy yourself a good dinner. Take a walk down a familiar street. You sit by the window as the sunlight fades and feel full inside, even if no one knows what day it is. Not everyone who lives this way is lonely. Often they have simply stopped handing the feeling of being important over to the crowd to decide. But here there is a very thin line, and perhaps this is the most important part. There is a difference between "I don't need birthdays" and "I'm afraid to need birthdays." They sound the same, but the feeling inside is completely different. Someone who is truly free will feel calm if the day passes quietly. Someone who is protecting themselves may also say, "It's fine," but later that night feel their heart sink a little when no one remembers. One person doesn't celebrate birthdays because they already feel full inside. Another refuses them because they fear that if they hope, and things don't go as they wished, they will have to face a more painful question. Maybe I'm not that important after all. That's why sometimes the real question is not whether you celebrate your birthday. The real question is whether you are choosing that from peace or from defense. And honestly, we don't always know the answer right away. Some emotions take years before we can name them correctly. Some people reach middle age before realizing they never hated birthdays. They only hated the feeling of waiting. Some think they are fine with silence, until one year a late birthday wish unexpectedly brings tears to their eyes. Others once believed something was wrong with them because they didn't enjoy the things everyone else called fun. Only later do they understand that nothing was wrong. They simply experience the world differently from most people. Society likes visible expressions. A crowded party looks more like happiness than a quiet evening alone. A photo of a bright smile is easier to believe as everything is fine than a silent day with no posts. But real life isn't that simple. Some parties are loud while hearts remain empty. And some very quiet days are when a person feels closest to themselves. So if you no longer feel excited about birthdays the way you once did, it doesn't automatically mean you are sad, cold, or broken. Maybe you are tired. Maybe you were disappointed once. Maybe you are living too fast. Maybe you have grown in a way others don't yet understand. And maybe this is simply a moment to pause and ask yourself one gentle question. Do I truly not need this day? Or have I simply become used to not asking for anything? If the answer is that you truly don't need it, and you feel light about that, then that's perfectly okay. If the answer is that deep down you still want to be remembered, to be cared for, to receive something small but warm, that doesn't make you weak. Human beings are not wrong for wanting to matter in someone else's eyes. We only suffer when we have to pretend that we don't. Perhaps maturity is not reaching a point where you no longer need anyone. Perhaps it's being honest enough with yourself to know when you are okay alone, and when you are quietly hoping a door will open. So if birthdays have become just another normal day for you, that's okay. And if deep down you know they were never really ordinary to begin with, that's okay too. You don't have to force yourself to be happy just because others are. And you don't have to conclude that you are strange just because your emotions don't follow the calendar. Some people need singing, some need silence, some need a hug, some simply need not to explain themselves. What matters is understanding where you are. Because sometimes healing doesn't begin with doing something big. It begins with stopping the habit of judging yourself for having changed. And perhaps every birthday eventually passes. But the feeling of being understood, even if only by yourself, is the gift that stays the longest. There are days that need no candles, no flowers, no witnesses, and they are still days worthy of gentleness. Because sometimes, just an ordinary day is simply the way a heart that has been through many things quietly says, "Today, I am still here." Thank you for taking the time to listen and for allowing me to be with you for the past few minutes. Have a good rest. Tomorrow is a new day. Wishing you peace and happiness.